We're live. Are we? Day 20 of 21. Remembering how to breathe. It's amazing how I put in the title, Remembering How to Breathe. That just came very spontaneously. But after doing these live events every day, we've been discussing how, the importance of the breath, why the breath is important, what it does for the body, how the body reacts with certain different levels of oxygen, the nervous system, the diaphragm, your heart, your lungs, all these vital, important organs, how the nutrients and the oxygen around your bloodstream, your brain, the clarity, all of this information just building on top of a block, one at a time, one at a time, one at a time, to get to the actual perspective that without the simple act of allowing yourself to breathe, proper breathing is when you use your diaphragm, not your chest. Do it now after following these videos for almost 3 weeks. If you've got one hand on your chest and one hand on your belly and you're taking a deep breath and a slow exhale, if your chest moves, you're still shallow breathing. You're forcing the air here. And just having oxygen up on your higher lobes is not, you're strangling your cells and therefore everything that goes with it. Everything remains stuck. Nothing moves. Remembering how to breathe, you must use your diaphragm. I had completely different notes ready for you for this lesson. I'll probably just mention them at the end, but this seems very relevant right now, is that even though we will be finishing these videos tomorrow, and even though I will be reminding you over and over again, maybe with posts, maybe with Instagram or a blog here and there, I'd like you really to understand that after being persistent and watching these videos, I can see a lot of people go and watch the replay. If you stick with it, you become your source of information. You become your best friend, that just by breathing, you're helping yourself physically, mentally, and emotionally. So let's just ponder for a moment. Why do you need reminding of how to breathe? If you look at a baby born into this world and you notice, I bet many mothers, as soon as they give birth, they're looking and they're watching their baby, they're making sure their little baby is breathing. You'll notice that the baby knows how to breathe perfectly. That belly goes up and down. It is not shallow breathing. And that's why I said, why I wanted to call it remembering how to breathe. You just need to remember how to breathe. It's not something you need to learn. You already know, you innately know how to do this. How did we forget to breathe? Your emotions. You began to start believing thoughts and beliefs from others, from your close circle of family, your friends, your teachers, your peers. And then those emotions started to restrict your body. because emotions are energy. And they have the power to restrict you, to restrict new oxygen from coming in. That's why you need reminding. Babies and children are vibrating at different frequency. They are pure energy, but unfocused. They are not focused in anything at the moment. That's why children don't understand adults, because they are completely two different frequencies. When you tell a child, we don't have enough, it doesn't know what you're saying. He or she doesn't know what you're saying. Because at that level of frequency, before the age of 12, they feel the expansiveness that everything is possible. They don't understand what lack is, because they feel the infinite possibilities that you're now denying yourself. That's why there's a lack of engagement. And when an adult tries to teach a child his ways and his beliefs from the past, after the age of 12, you get that teenage crisis, because all of a sudden their frequency starts to match yours, and now they believe they need to become someone. And there's that crisis. But now here you are, reminding yourself, no matter what my emotions are doing, I need to stop and breathe through them. I need to breathe them. I need to release them. Because otherwise, your health will decline, and emotionally, you'll get all clogged up. And guess what? Trapped emotions will then explode. You will either have a depression or some sort of tantrum. When children feel like their emotions are catching up, they have the tantrum. They will fall on the floor. They will scream and shout. They will release it, because that's what spontaneously happens. In this three-dimensional world, things happen. You experience it, you release it. You experience it, you release it. And you renew, and you have other experiences from a higher frequency. Now you know what you don't like. You know much better what you do like. Experiences direct focus and desire. Without past experiences, you don't have a clear picture of what you now desire. It is important to know that you need to remind yourself every day, I must breathe the way this body intended to breathe. I must allow the lungs to have sufficient amount of air to fill them up from the lower lobes down, in order to circulate this oxygen around the body, in order to then arrive from the tip of my head down to the tip of my toes. The nutrients, the chemical change happens again, completely renewed. And so your vibration lifts, where at that level, you perceive, you feel, you know, you are knowing. You don't need to believe in a thought, you know. There's a difference to believe in something and to know. To believe something is possible or to believe something is impossible is irrelevant to you. When you have that energy, you remain in the knowing. Knowing has no duality. Knowing doubts nothing. It is simply, I know. It is a knowing, the experience of knowing. And from there, your nervous system remains calm, peace, love, light, awareness, in order to have access to this true self of yours. You cannot be in a state of mind, in a state of belief, caused by a lack of oxygen. So these 3 weeks were proposed to you as an introduction. Let's begin. Because if you don't begin now, when? If you begin now, things will only get better. This time next year, you'll be a completely different person because you have already removed that excessive weight. How? By breathing, which means now you're getting rid of toxins. You're balancing oxygen and carbon dioxide. Okay? You're balancing it. You don't want too much acidity into your body. You don't want too much carbon dioxide. You don't want too many fats. You need to balance yourself out. Am I saying it might take a year? Who cares how long it takes? The fact is that you've begun. And the fact is that you were meant to be breathing properly, correctly, all this time. So was I. It's important that you did start and that you continue. Allow your body to now stabilize, to find that balance. The breathing exercise that I've put in the notes for you today is one of the most energizing breaths that is known. It actually comes from a Sanskrit name. I'll mention it to you, but let me just. It's important that you remember to breathe. It's important you remember how to breathe. We balance out the body now. You carry on. You have to breathe all your life correctly. This is not a short fix. This is not a temporary situation. As we said, the body can store food, it can store water. It does not store oxygen. You must breathe every day. Bring yourself to that conclusion. This is a full-time job. I don't even call it a job. It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure to really want to master your breath. Breathing is important. I don't want to go on a rampage of how important I've been talking about this every single day for the past 3 weeks. You know how important it is. I've given you the facts. I've given you the statistics. I've given you everything. You know why this is important. Why do you need reminding? Why do we need reminding? Why is it 9 out of 10 people on this planet need reminding of how to breathe? I've looked at so many videos. They're all athletes, singers, and yoga teachers. The common man feels like when you're watching these videos, if you're not a yoga instructor or you're not a yoga student, you're not a singer or an athlete, it seems like it doesn't concern you. It's not appropriate for you. Oxygen is your energy, is your power. It allows you to be in that seat of consciousness where everything is clear. You're clear-minded, you're at peace. Your thoughts have no hold on you. They have no room for you. You're kind and you're loving, you're understanding, you're compassionate. You blend in as an empath. You understand, you can feel the other person's pain without condemning or judging them or expecting them to be different. The buck stops with you. Because if you do not breathe correctly, you do not breathe properly, you'll be overwhelmed by your emotions. And when your emotions get the best of you, you'll have your tantrum. You'll have your episode. And now you've added to that low vibration. Your low vibration, someone else's low vibration, you get together, we have a crowd of low vibratory unconscious beings that don't know how to breathe. And then we create a war. You mean to tell me we create war because no one knew how to breathe? Ultimately, Lack of oxygen will always give you a low level of consciousness. It won't give you an introductory. Open that door so you can perceive yourself as you really are. Breathing is the first form of meditation where you are not engulfed by your thoughts. You are not overwhelmed by your emotions. It will clear those emotions for you. You must not stop. It is every day. 3, 4 different exercises. But you know what? Even if you don't do the other exercises, the only breath that you take, long inhales through the nose, slowly, using that diaphragm, and a slow exhale. Really feel that peace. Everything must be slow. You're a beginner in the sense you've just reminded yourself how to breathe. You're the common man. You are not a yoga instructor. You are not a yoga student. You're not a singer. You're not an actor. You're not an athlete. We are the common man. Breathing is something we all must do in order not to control your emotions, not to control the outcomes, to know that you can raise your energy levels, you can raise your vibration. And from there, look at the outside world. From there, you drop in the heart. It's easy. It is effortless. Nothing is happening to you. Everything is happening through you. But if you have a lack of oxygen, you do not perceive it like that. You perceive a completely different reality. You perceive things are happening to you. You are a vehicle where energy flows. The importance of breathing is imperative. You must know it. Do not stop. Continue the practice until it is no longer a practice. You feel it is just one. Your body knows how to do it. Your diaphragm expands, takes in the air. You become to recognize, easy for you to recognize. I'm feeling an emotion coming up. What do? You don't even have to think about it. Inspired action. You breathe. You stop and you breathe. Inspired. You're inspired. You don't have a to-do list. The mind does not need to remind you to breathe. You innately know, this is what I do. Just like children, they know what to do. Babies know how to do this perfectly. They breathe, the diaphragm. If you're breathing with your chest, you're doing it wrong. Stop doing it with your chest. Shutter breathing is futile. You're strangling your cells. You're activating your nervous system. It's pumping in stress cells into your body. It's preparing you for fight or for flight. Remember this. Remember this. When you feel anxious, you've got a lack of oxygen. Take a breath. Take a breath. An emotion comes up, you can feel that it's constraining you. Take a breath. Allow that oxygen to come through. Breathe. Breathe out that emotion. Release yourself from that trapped emotion. Share this information. Prove it to yourself. Things will only get better. You will lose weight. And if you're doing this just to lose weight, good, all right. You'll have more clarity. You'll feel more energetic. You'll have less health issues. I know that the majority of the audience that I wanted to address this to are those that were completely unaware of the connection between oxygen, air, energy, emotions, body. I understand. That was my purpose. My purpose was to plant the seed. That is what I wanted to do, is plant the seed. I don't want to check up on the seed. I don't care how many followers come or what happens after. Just plant the seed within you so that you can feel better. You can feel more creative. You can feel more empowered. That's important for me, that you feel that which you already are. You have this infinite amount of possibilities within you, and you are completely unaware of it. It saddened me. So this is why I said, where can I begin to introduce this information to you? You have power, but how do I let you know about it? So once you've mastered your breath with a rhythm is important. It gets energy moving at a certain frequency. Do it for a week, do it for 2 weeks, do it for 3 weeks. Just once you feel that you have a good grasp on the flexibility of your diaphragm, your abdomen muscles feel nice and strong, and you feel confident that how you're breathing makes you feel energetic and good, and you want to master it, then I suggest you read my notes for today. It's an energizing breath called Kapalabhati breath. I don't know if I've pronounced it correctly. Anyway, it's a Sanskrit word, which is Kapala, which is translated to skull, and Bhati, which means light. It's actually known as the skull shining breath, which apparently gives you an amazing experience of clarity and light throughout your body, but it's mostly here. This breath needs to be practiced. In fact, there's a lot of, let me just tell you here, it's an exercise that purifies and rejuvenates and invigorates the mind and body. When you practice this breath, visualize your skull filling with a bright light. This is how its name came about. So it's very important for those that want to get started on it. I put in some instructions that I researched online. I also put a link on a YouTube video so you can actually see how it's done. It's done in a specific way. But you must have a good grip. Those that are watching this video and are already experts in yoga and have been breathing correctly, you might already know about this breath, but I suggest it for those that I personally am not resonating with it at the moment. I'm really enjoying getting a grasp of my body. I've been enjoying doing it for the past 2 months. I'm not ready for this breath, but I couldn't finish this video series without at least giving you the information about this breath. All right. In fact, it says when to use this breath in the morning. Since this breath is so energizing, try it first thing in the morning for the invigorating wake-up call. When you're cold, apparently, it's a warming breath. So if your body is chilly, a few rounds of it can warm you up, even on a snowy day. And mid-afternoon, if you're feeling a case of the midday slump, you do a few, it instantaneously energizes you. All right. But it's a particular breath. That's why I've put in the link of I can't even demonstrate it for you, because then you'd need to see how the belly moves and everything. So the Kapalabhati is the most, you need to be fit. Let's put it, there's a bit of a few precautions of it. As in all breathing practices, there are cautions. Kapalabhati is not to be practiced by persons with high or low blood pressure. That's why I said, first, get a grip of how you're breathing. Normally, long inhales, long exhales, get a rhythm, get a grip of it. If you guys have just started breathing like I have, okay, we've got some work to do. We really need a grit, that diaphragm, especially the diaphragm, because that is the only way you're going to be breathing properly. All right. So obviously, that's why I don't really want to get into it. You can read it through. There's actually how to perform this breath as well. I just felt like you needed to know about it, because at some point I know I really want to master every kind of breath. I've looked into all the yoga practices as well, and it's just amazing on what our bodies can actually accomplish. And when you're bored at this level of frequency, where you're just starting to release toxins, you're feeling more clarity, you're feeling lighter, you feel a lot better. There's infinite perspectives and higher vibrations. And for every single vibration, there is a matching breath that the body will feel on how to produce more and more energy. Okay? But you must begin somewhere and sometime. If you know this information and you don't practice your breath, ask yourself the question, what belief do I hold on to that says that doesn't make me want to breathe correctly? Knowingly, write it down, contemplate. What is holding you back from allowing this just to remind yourself? Remind yourself. Through the breath, you will release trapped emotions. Through the breath, you will release all those limitations that are holding you back, physically, health-wise, emotionally. So this was a spontaneous, I had an idea of really getting into this last breath, but read it. You can research it online. I've given you the links where you can read up on it and you can watch the video. But something just told me that I really just wanted to really emphasize, do not give up on it. Tomorrow will be the last video I'll be doing of the series. I might come back next month with some reminders, but please, folks, maybe revisit these 21 videos over and over again until it really, really sinks in. Please don't give up before you actually start to see and ripen the benefits. I have planted the seed. Just give it some water and let it grow. Love you very much. See you tomorrow for our last one. I hope everyone will be online. And again, if you have any questions or you want to share or converse, I'm up for it. Tomorrow's going to be very spontaneous. All right. See you tomorrow at 7.